Hello there, dead and lovely listeners and viewers, and welcome to another very special Dead and Lovely mini-sode. Here with the host with the most. It's me, Uncle Ben.
Me, Hollywood Steve.
It's him, Hollywood Steve. Now, we've done a couple of little mini-sode things here in conjunction with the podcast and the YouTube channel. Usually on the podcast, we go super deep diving. Some
That's
big
true.
old long, 2-hour long explorations of flicks and stuff.
Some of them have reached almost 3 hours.
You don't say.
It's crazy.
Pretty good stuff. But here for these mini-sodes, we're just gonna cut straight to the chase here.
Yeah.
Get straight to the point and tell you guys what we think about some stuff. And today we're gonna be talking about the new Netflix craze.
The Haunting of Hill House.
It's that soap opera, What Has Ghosts in It. Now, I finished this last week. When did you finish it?
Yeah, last week, and I tried rewatching some of it before we did this.
Okay.
So I've watched some recently.
Right on. Now, let me tell our viewers and listeners here, this is going to be chock-a-block full of spoilers.
Yeah. So
Here-
if you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
you probably don't want to move forward if you do want to watch it. And
Yeah.
let's just go ahead and give you a quick review if you don't want spoilers. Real quick, Ben, what do you think?
I didn't love it. I did not love it. I thought it was very slow,
Okay.
very soap opera-y. Could have been less than half as long, and it would have been better. You could watch it. It's not going to, I don't think you'll super regret it or anything
Right.
like that, but I wasn't in love with it.
I think you should watch it. And I'll get into that in the spoiler area.
So, herein lies spoilers, but now you know our basic thoughts.
Spoilers.
Now, Steve, I'll tell you what. I watched this going into with pretty large expectations.
Me too. Everybody was loving on it.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of hype around it and everything. People were saying it was like giving them nightmares. It was super scary and all this.
Uh-huh.
And so I went into it with pretty high expectations. And I gotta say, I think one of the reasons why I didn't like it that much is partially because it ate up so much of my prime Halloween movie watching
Right.
schedule.
Yeah.
You know, like in the week or two leading up to Halloween.
Watch
I
a lot
watched-
of horror movies.
Yeah, but instead I watched like 10 hours of this.
Yeah, that is excessive, it seems.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that kind of aids in my resentment of it. Is just the
Okay.
fact that I feel like I missed out on some great Halloween watching.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you that it is too long. It shouldn't be 10 episodes.
The series kind of tells two storylines of the family and the kids when they were young and living in the house, and then the other storyline is them as adults kind of dealing
Yes.
with the consequences. And so you kind of get to know the characters super in depth because you've known them as they were kids, you've known them as they were adults. So it does flesh out the characters very well. And there's some cool characters in this, I got to say.
Yeah, and it also gives us that thing where we see them in adulthood and childhood like simultaneously. So you get to see how they become different as children, but then also there's still that gap where you're like, wait, how did Shirley go from that, little girl that was wondering what was in the red room and stuff
Yeah.
to this real sort of, I would say, hard.
Sure.
She's like she tries to
Kinda
push
cut
people
off.
out.
Yeah,
and
walled
cut,
up
yeah,
like.
yeah, she's walled up. And how did Luke go from this cute little curious kid to a drug addict? And
Sure.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's a cool juxtaposition.
And there's some, like you said, there's some gaps where everything isn't necessarily spelled out to you. But
Yes.
I like that. I think it seems logical,
Yeah, and
like those characters
that's
progress.
I mean, that's the way that the 10 episodes progress, is by slowly revealing to you what because we do see what happens the night. Like there's the major night where the mother kills herself and tries to kill two of the kids, and a third child who's a child of the caretakers.
The caretaker's kid, yeah.
We don't see all of that. All we see basically is the kids getting rushed out to the car and driven away, and then slowly it reveals like what's going on with the kids, what was going on in the house, and what happened that night.
Yeah.
That would work, I think, better over 4 episodes than 10.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
what I was gonna say. Is like, okay, we've got how many kids? 6 kids.
6. Oh, hold on. They're the twins.
Theo, Cheryl,
and
Steven.
So 5.
5 kids.
Yeah.
So we pretty much had entire episodes devoted to each kid.
And then each parent, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then just kind of some general episodes with everybody all
Right.
together and stuff. And I get what they were going for with that, but man alive, that's a lot of episodes to devote when you got that many kids.
It is a lot, and I mean, I appreciate what Mike Flanagan was going for here, which is a real in-depth psychological study of each of the family members.
Totally, yeah.
But
I can get it.
I think you could have weaved it together, maybe have episode dedicated to 2 people.
Yeah,
specifically
give me like an episode about the twins.
Episode about the twins. That would work well. Episode about the 2 older kids. I think Theo kind of does deserve her own episode because she has a power, basically, that not everyone else has.
Sure.
Though everybody does seem to have their own tendency towards the supernatural.
They do, yeah.
Theo's seems to be the most intense.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, I just think that it just spent so much time with every character. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of a slow burn. I'm a fan of a lot of good character development and stuff like that. A lot of my favorite horror flicks are slow going.
Yeah, but they're still an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. This is 10.
They're not 10.
This is fucking 10 hours long, man. Yeah, I'm with you. I wish they would have economized and maybe cut down on some of the extremely long monologues in order to streamline this thing. Those monologues, dude, they did not fucking stop.
They don't. They just keep going. Like, they keep each having a time where they get to say their truth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little unnatural, but I guess honestly, when families are in situations like, say, a member of your family kills themselves and you all get together, maybe you do have moments where you're just saying your truth out loud because you're trying to process what happened. But
sure. But come on, everybody has a monologue.
It seems a bit excessive.
There was times even like in the finale episode where it ends with just like that huge monologue that just goes on forever. And I seriously was sitting there going, get on with it. Move on.
Yeah, please.
Keep going. Yeah, exactly. Some of those monologues and stuff just really killed me. But again, that's very Stephen King-ish. So if the writers were going for that, well, then they nailed it.
Yeah, I think, and I think that's why a lot of people really love this, because a lot of people really love Stephen King.
They do.
And they don't have the problem that we have with his dialogue.
Sure,
like, they don't see a problem with that. That's fine.
Totally.
It's great that people love these things. But yeah, for me, it just doesn't ring true.
Yeah.
And I want, in a supernatural, paranormal setting, I need something to ground me.
Yeah.
And the dialogue's not helping. The dialogue is making it seem more and more like this is okay. They're acting.
Yeah,
this is not real.
Over her adulthood. The thing that was haunting her was that depression, which is her in the future killing herself.
Right. That was very well done.
It is very well done. And that episode, gosh,
it's good.
So good.
That's one of the better ones of the series.
Yeah.
I will say I pretty well enjoyed
5 and
that
6, I think, are the 2 best episodes for sure.
Definitely. And I'll say, too, on the subject of some of the scares and stuff, there were a few that I thought were good. I really liked when, was it young Luke was down in the basement?
Oh, God, and that thing came crawling at him. That
was cool. I think it's in maybe episode 2.
Yeah, that's early on, episode 2.
Yeah. And when it got to that point, I was like, okay, this thing's got some chops. I was like, okay, it's going to satisfy my urge to be frightened by film. And then there weren't too many after that really spooked me, that really got me. Yeah.
Even when when Cheryl and Theo were driving to the house, and then Nell's ghost.
No.
You didn't?
No, I didn't at all. I know a lot of people damn peed themselves and never got to that part, but I am so tired
of jump scares.
Well, and not only that, but specifically when a ghost appears and screams.
Yeah.
Why would that happen? Why would a ghost be like, I'm here? Ah!
It's just, I think just for the fear element. Like, because when you read ghost stories that are people actually telling a story of a ghost, it's rare that they'll be like, and the ghost screamed at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of that scare. It's just been done to damn death. So.
Man, it got me. It did.
Yeah.
It got me. It actually had me like, because I take my dog on walks in our completely dark yard at night. It had me a little bit of like running back to the door.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, what the fuck's behind me?
I know what you mean though. And like I said, the horror elements, whenever they're being done, are pretty good. I found them I found them so few and far and in between, man.
It's true. They're not enough. Yeah.
No.
That is an issue, I think.
And I could be my own devil's advocate right here and be like, well, the fact that it's not covered in them makes it more scary when something actually happens.
It does.
I understand. But, my God, most of the time, like 95% of this, you could just feel like you're watching a soap opera.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a soap opera with some ghosts in it. That's it, to me.
That is very true. We should talk about the fact that Mike Flanagan wrote, directed, and edited all 10 episodes.
Seriously?
Yep.
Even all the editing, too?
All the editing.
That's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive.
That's unheard of, basically.
Yeah. That's like making a 10-hour movie, writing a 10-hour movie, directing it, and then editing it. Like,
good God, man.
Elizabeth Reeser said he lost 40 pounds.
Holy cow, seriously?
Yeah, because he was just so busy. Didn't even have time to eat.
Is that going to be the new like Hollywood fad diet? Like make a 10-hour long Netflix series and do it all yourself?
Yeah.
Watch the pounds just melt away. And episode 6 was the one with all the really long shots.
Yeah.
And I will say,
that's
again,
the one where
I was very impressed.
We get the whole family together for the first time.
Right, yeah.
As adults. And they're there for Nell's funeral.
Yeah.
And they're all basically just dealing with the grief and telling stories and having fights.
Yeah.
And it's just what happens.
Yeah, pretty realistic for a fucked up family who's experienced a real big tragedy that gets together. Of course, one of them's going to get hammered and say the wrong things, and everybody else is going to be having these arguments between them and stuff. That was well done, and we were sitting there watching that episode, and I think it was probably about 10 or 15 minutes in, and I turned to Kate, and I'm like, man, this has been a long shot. And then it got me fascinated. I was like, how long does this shot go? Because I kept waiting for somebody to, walk in front of the camera. And it's like, okay, that was the end. That was a cut right there. Right. But that whole episode is basically several extremely long shots. I think
the longest shot is 17 minutes. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
To be an ensemble cast and be dealing with cameras that are moving around and stuff and act for 17 minutes straight.
Yeah.
I wonder how many fucking takes they did on that. That's highly, highly impressive.
Mike Flanagan said that all of the camera movements were written into the original script.
So it was
he had
blocked
it already plotted out before they even got to production.
Which, again, you telling me that he wrote, edited all this stuff together. Yeah. I mean, he had a very full vision of what this is going to look like.
He knew exactly what he wanted.
That's impressive. He didn't just leave it to the camera guys and go, make it look cool.
Yeah.
So that is cool. And then, too, I even think that, the way I was saying earlier, like it really gives you a lot of deep dive into each of the characters and stuff, which in a way is cool. But in a way, it's also showing the filmmakers' lack of faith in the audience that they'd be able to connect with these characters given a shorter time span.
Yeah.
It's like, we really need to spend hours and hours with this guy to figure out he's an addict that's struggling. No, you don't. You really don't.
It's not hard to connect with them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You pretty easily learn who they are and, what they're all about within the first couple of episodes.
Somebody out there could make an edit of this.
Sure.
That's like half as long. Easily.
I would watch that.
What's your main complaint? You said you had something about the ending and the dad.
Yeah, okay, so this this show kind of hinges on the fact that the dad doesn't just tell the kids, hey, the house was haunted.
Yeah.
Your mother's spirit's still there. You probably don't want to go to see her because the house will drive you insane.
Yeah. Those are good details to know.
Yeah. If he had just said those things, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
Because what happens is Steven needs something to write about that will make him money. People are offering him money to tell the story of his haunted house he grew up in or lived in for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He writes the story. All the family members get mad at him and then basically go their separate ways. And this is Nell, aside from her husband's death, it's being separated from her family that drives her to the house with, I feel like, the intent of maybe dying.
Maybe.
But definitely going to the house thinking there's no one else in the world here for me.
Yeah.
I'll go to the house. Maybe I feel some connection there. That wouldn't have happened. None of that would have happened if from the beginning the dad had been like, listen, you guys, you lived in a haunted house. There were definitely ghosts there. Steven, it's real.
Yeah.
And everybody could have just been like, oh, okay. And then dealt with that information and processed it instead of it becoming this huge family argument and not really understanding what happened that night.
Right.
Like he's just holding this secret for no reason.
To push the storyline, basically.
Yeah, it's just to push the storyline, which, like, come on.
Right.
They could have just said that, like, you know, growing up, their dad always said it was haunted and this is what happened, but I don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
That would have worked just fine.
Yeah.
If at the end it didn't really just come down to the fact that the dad didn't tell them.
He just didn't tell him.
Yeah. And just kind of disappeared. I didn't really get what happened there.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, considering all the time
after they were kids.
Yeah. Considering all the time we spent filling in the gaps with everybody else, with the dad, it's just like, he was gone.
Yeah.
Then he
we
came
were raised
back.
by my aunt.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
I was a little perturbed by the convenience of that.
Yeah.
But again, I mean that is an issue that could have been fixed, but maybe people like it that way. Maybe it's a lot of people for secrets to be there.
I was going to say, and maybe that's the whole point. I mean, maybe the whole point is for you to watch this and go, man, if he just would have talked to his kids, he could have worked on this. Yeah, overall, I would say the ending, I think, was pretty weak.
It was.
And that seems to be kind of across the board. I think a lot of people thought the ending was just kind of lame because there's so much build-up and things were getting, like, nice and dark and menacing. Right. And then it just really ends pretty soft, pretty lovey-dovey.
Yeah, just like families forever.
Yeah, exactly, which I didn't really like. There were things about this that I definitely liked that I thought were well done. I mean, I can't really say any of it was badly done, other than, you know, again, some of those monologues, and it just wasn't my flavor of horror as far as some of the scary stuff goes. I think if I'm going to rate this thing on a scale of 1 to 10... I think I'll probably go 4.5.
4.5?
4.5. I will one day probably watch it again.
Okay.
I'll put it that way. It's not one of those things that I'll be like, I'll never waste my time with that again. I might watch it again someday.
I would favorably compare it to the first season of American Horror Story, which is, I think, the best season.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate comparison.
But I don't know. I think you're right that it's somewhere in the middle ground. It's not an 8 or a 9 for sure. I think it's pretty great, like in what it is. Okay. It's a family drama with some paranormal activity.
Which I'll give it credit. That's kind of a new thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just straight horror.
No, it's got a lot of drama to it. Yeah, and it deals with emotions and things. I think for me, this is a 6.
Right on, man. Well, you guys be sure to let us know in the comments below.
All right.
What you all thought about The Haunting of Hill House Haunting Hill Haunted. I would be curious to see what you guys thought about it, because I definitely seem to be in the minority. It seems like most everybody else has really loved this thing.
People love it, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just kind of the crabby old man yelling at a cloud here. So I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on a podcast app, be sure to write us a review and subscribe. Makes a world of difference to us.
It's true.
Where can they find us on them social media,
At
Steve?
Dead Lovely Pod on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes,
we have
indeed.
a Facebook group, Dead and Lovely Horror Movie Podcast Group.
We do.
And you can email us at deadandlovelypod@gmail.com.
Boom shakalaka. He's on fire. You all have been lovely. We've been dead?
I think so.
Maybe we were ghosts the whole time.
We're dead. Bye.